In this module, we start with almost sure convergence, give an example, and then pass on to another mode of convergence which is known as convergence in the Rth mean, and enumerate the relationship between convergence in the Rth mean and convergence in probability. And next, we shall introduce the analogues of big O and small o of ordinary sequence in case of random variables. Then we pass on to our next topic, which is weak law of large number, consider different types of weak law of large numbers, and then discuss strong law of large number, and in particular consider a sufficient condition which is known as Borel-Cantelli lemma. We have defined already convergence in probability and convergence in distribution, and we have already noted that we have two more type of convergence, namely almost surely convergence and convergence in the Rth mean. So we start with convergence almost surely. So convergence in probability does not ensure that the limiting value of the xn is x with probability 1, and this necessitates us to consider another mode of convergence. This another mode of convergence is known as almost sure convergence. So formally, consider a sequence of random variables xn, then xn is said to converge almost surely to another random variable x, that is xn minus x in symbol converges almost surely to 0 if the supremum value of the distance between xm and x, where the supremum is taken over every m greater than or equal to n, converges in probability to 0, where as earlier the random variables xn and x are defined on a common sample space. This is a stronger mode of convergence because supremum value of the distance function converges in probability to 0 implies distance between xn and x convergence in probability to 0. So let us consider some example. Suppose we have an IID sequence of rectangular 0 1 variables, that is xn has a rectangular 0 1 distribution for every n, then it is well known that expected value of the smallest order statistic is 1 by n plus 1, which tends to 0 for large n. So naturally we can expect that as we increase n, the minimum value, the minimum order statistic will lie in a close neighborhood of 0. Consider a sample size of small m and let x1 m be the minimum value of this sample of size m. Then consider the quantity probability distance between x1 m and 0 less than or equal to epsilon for every m greater than or equal to n. Since x1 m belongs to 0 1 with probability 1, we get that this distance between x1 m and 0 also belongs to the closed interval 0 1 with probability 1. Then for epsilon greater than or equal to 1, the above probability is simply 1. So assume 0 less than epsilon less than 1, then the above probability reduces to probability that x1 m less than or equal to epsilon for all m greater than or equal to n. Since x1 n is greater than or equal to x1 n plus 1, that is the minimum value for a sample of size n is greater than or equal to minimum value for a size of n plus 1, we have probability x1 m less than or equal to epsilon for every m greater than or equal to n as probability x1 m less than or equal to epsilon. Now after actual calculation we find that probability x1 m less than or equal to epsilon is nothing but 1 minus probability x1 m greater than epsilon. So x1 m is nothing but the minimum of m sample observations. So, this minimum exceeds epsilon implies and implied by the event that each of x1 up to xm, that is each of the m observations exceed epsilon. So, since x1, x2, xn are IID sequence of random variables, so we at once find this probability x1m greater than epsilon as probability x1 greater than epsilon whole to the power m. Now, by our construction, x1 has a rectangular 0 1 distribution. So, this probability x1 greater than epsilon is nothing but 1 minus epsilon, and hence we get the probability that probability x1m less than equal to epsilon as 1 minus epsilon whole to the power m, and since epsilon lies between 0 and 1, we get that this 1 minus epsilon whole to the power m tends to 1 as m tends to infinity, and therefore by definition xn converges almost surely to 0. So, next consider our next type of convergence, that is convergence in the Rth mean. Consider the random variables xn and x defined on a common sample space such that expected value of the absolute value of xn to the power r is finite for some r greater than 0. Then xn is said to converge in the Rth mean to x if expected value of the Rth power of the absolute value of xn minus x tends to 0 as n tends to infinity, provided expected value of mod x to the power r is finite. So, in notation we use r to indicate convergence in the Rth mean. Actually, for probability convergence we have introduced p, for almost sure convergence we have introduced a dot s, and for distribution convergence we have introduced d. In this case, if the convergence holds in the Rth mean, we use r. Next we shall discuss one important property of convergence in the Rth mean. If xn converges in Rth mean to x for some r, for some positive r, then xn converges in probability to x. However, the converse may not be always true. Next we shall discuss two important notations which are frequently used in large sample statistics. These are known as stochastic order relations. Actually, these are the probability analogues of big O and small o notations for ordinary sequences. So, we start with stochastic big O notation. For a sequence of random variables xn, if for every epsilon greater than 0 there exists a positive constant k depending on epsilon and an integer n naught also depending on epsilon, such that probability that modulus of xn less than k is greater than equal to 1 minus epsilon for every n greater than equal to n naught epsilon, then xn is said to be of big O 1, obviously in probability. It is alternatively said that xn is bounded in probability. For sequences of random variables xn and yn, if for every epsilon greater than 0 there exists a positive constant k and an integer n naught also depending on epsilon, such that probability that absolute value of xn divided by yn is less than k has probability at least 1 minus epsilon for every n greater than equal to n naught epsilon, then we say xn is big O of yn in probability. So, next we discuss stochastic small o. For a sequence of random variables xn, if for every epsilon greater than 0 and eta greater than 0 there exists a positive integer n naught depending on both epsilon and eta such that probability that absolute value of xn exceeds eta has probability at most epsilon for every n greater than or equal to n naught, then xn is said to be of small o 1 in probability. It is easy to observe that xn is small o of 1 in probability is implied by, and also it also implies that xn converges in probability to 0. However, as we have already noted that we can have also vector valued random variables. So, one can use Euclidean norm to extend the idea for vector valued random variables. For sequences of random variables xn and yn, if for every epsilon greater than 0 and eta greater than 0 there exists a positive integer n naught depending on epsilon and eta such that xn by yn tends to 0 in probability, then we say that xn is of order yn where the order is denoted by small o, and obviously this mode of order is in probability. So, consider some property and some examples. So, for a sequence of random variables xn, if xn is small o of 1, then xn is also big O of 1. Also, the converse is not true in general. As an example, consider x having a normal standard normal distribution and define xn as minus 1 to the power n x, then xn and x has the same distribution, that is xn has a standard normal distribution, therefore xn is bounded in probability, that is xn is of order big O of 1, but probability that absolute value of xn exceeds epsilon is nothing but 2 times phi epsilon minus 1, which is not equal to 0, and hence we do not have the relation that xn is small o of 1. Let us consider another property which is often used in large sample theory. Actually, we often use representations like xn equal to yn plus rn, where r stands for a remainder, where either rn tends to 0 in probability or n times rn tends to 0 in probability. So, we can use small o notation to write these as xn equal to yn plus small o of 1 and xn equal to yn plus small o of 1 by n respectively. Now, we consider convergence of a series of random variables. We have already discussed convergence of an ordinary series and consider different types of tests, and here we shall consider convergence of a series of random variables considering different modes. So, we have already discussed sequence of random variables and their convergences. However, like ordinary series, we can also define a series with random variables. The different terms of such a series is either independent or dependent. Often our interest lies in the asymptotic nature of average or some standardized version of it. Consequently, we have laws of large numbers and central limit theorems. So, we start with weak law of large numbers. Let Sn be the nth partial sum, that is Sn is defined as summation k from 1 to n xk. Consider a sequence of constants Bn where Bn is positive, non-decreasing and diverging to plus infinity. Then Xn, the sequence, satisfies weak law of large numbers with respect to Bn if there exists a sequence of real constants An such that Sn minus An whole thing divided by Bn converges in probability to 0 as n tends to infinity. An are called centering constants and Bn are called norming constants. However, for our purpose we often take An as the expected value of Sn and Bn as the standard deviation of Sn. So, depending on the nature of the random variables, we have different types of weak law of large number. So, we start with Markov's weak law of large number. Consider a sequence of random variables with expected value of xk as mu k. So, in this case we do not assume that the random variables are independent and even their distributions are non-identical. So, in this case if variance of Sn divided by n square tends to 0, then Sn minus Sn by n minus summation k from 1 to n mu k divided by n converges in probability to 0. In this case we say that xn, the sequence, satisfies weak law of large number. However, if xn are independent, then we have Chebyshev's weak law of large number. The condition remains the same. Actually in that case variance of Sn simplifies to the sum of the variances of different xi's, the whole thing divided by n square, and the weak law of large number follows. Next, consider Poisson's weak law of large number. Consider a sequence of independent random variables xn with xn having a binomial distribution with parameters 1 and success probability mu n. Then Sn by n minus summation k from 1 to n mu k divided by n converges in probability to 0. If mu k equal to mu, that is if the random variables are IID Bernoulli variables with success probability mu, then the above weak law of large number reduces to that of Bernoulli. So, what is the interpretation of weak law of large number? Suppose a random experiment A is performed n times and Fn is the sample frequency. Naturally, nothing can be predicted about the rate of occurrence, which is nothing but probability of the event A based on a single trial. However, considering the averages Fn by n, which are also known as relative frequency, we arrive at an experiment in which the outcome can be predicted with high accuracy. The law of large numbers are often described as law of averages. So, let us consider an example. Consider tossing of a coin n times. If Fn is a number of heads turned up, then the relative frequency Fn by n can be interpreted as the proportion of heads in n throws. Naturally, nothing is known about the probability of head at the outset. The law of large numbers predict that Fn by n will be close to the unknown probability for large n. Thus, the value of Fn by n for large n would provide a close idea about the unknown probability of falling a head or tail for the coin. For better understanding, we simulate the tosses of a coin with success probability say 0.7. We have varied n over 50, 500 and 5000 and constructed the histogram of the proportion of heads in n trials. The figure is given in the next slide, and it is easy to observe that the distribution of the observed success proportion becomes more and more concentrated about the true proportion 0.7 as we increase n. So, from the graph, as expected, the distribution of the observed success proportion becomes more and more concentrated about the true proportion 0.7 with the increase in n. Actually, for n equal to 50, we get that the range is from 0.55 to 0.85, and when n equal to 500, the range shrinks to 0.65 to 0.75, and when we take n as 5000, we get the range from 0.68 to 0.72. So, with the increase of n, we get that the histogram becomes more and more concentrated around 0.70. So, this is the notion of weak law of large number. So, next we discuss strong law of large numbers. As earlier, let xn be a sequence of random variables and let Sn be the nth partial sum. So, consider a sequence of constants Bn where Bn is positive and diverging to plus infinity. Then the sequence is said to satisfy strong law of large numbers with respect to Bn if there exists a sequence of real constants An such that Sn minus An whole thing divided by Bn converges to 0 almost surely as n tends to infinity. Unlike weak law of large number, in case of strong law of large number, we in general consider An as the expected value of Sn, but Bn as n. So, next we shall discuss an important consequence or some sufficient condition for checking almost sure convergence, which is known as Borel-Cantelli lemma. So, if we have a sequence of events An such that the series summation n from 1 to infinity probability An is convergent, then the probability that limit superior of the event An equal to 0. However, if An that is the sequence of events are pairwise independent with the series summation n from 1 to infinity probability An is divergent, then we get probability that the limit superior of n is 1. So, observe that xn minus x converging to 0 almost surely is equivalent to the probability that limit superior of the distance xn minus x exceeds epsilon equal to 0, and this holds for every epsilon greater than 0, and hence this is the key to use the above lemma, that is Borel-Cantelli lemma, to establish almost sure convergence. So, we have discussed almost sure convergence, convergence in the rth mean. We have also seen what is weak law of large number and what is strong law of large number. We also discussed Borel-Cantelli lemma. So, in our next module, we shall discuss different types of strong law of large number, their applications, and one particular type of convergence closely associated with almost sure convergence, which is known as complete convergence, and discuss also use of Borel-Cantelli lemma to prove strong law of large numbers.